Dun, 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 dun. Da, 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 dun, 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 dun. La 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 love somebody tonight. Hello everybody, I'm the jargon of actually podcast version. So this is not a famous movie, but this is just an episode of podcast, which is what I'm going to get, which is what I'm going to start. Anyway, so this episode is going to get started, but actually, so this time I inserted a, a part of song, and not a part of song. I inserted two parts of each different songs into the beginning of this episode anyway. So I brought those parts of songs because those songs are related to a famous movie in my country. So anyway, maybe you do not know the name of that movie, but actually, so if you happen to be a Japanese person, I'm definitely sure you know that. So if you are in your 30s, and I'm in my 30s, and if you are also in your 30s, so you must know, or you should know this movie. And the name of that movie is, wait a moment please. You don't have to, no, I don't have to say, wait a moment please. So I can remember the Japanese title of that movie, or original title, which is the original title, and the title is Odoru Daiso Sasen, which had been famous in the late 1990s, and in the beginning of two, 2000s. Yeah, that movie had been famous around in the town of 20th century, not in the town of 20th century, but in the town of 21st century, or from the end of 20th century to the beginning of 21st century. This series of television dramas, and this series of television dramas, and this series of movies had been famous. But actually, this is a, how should I say, this is a kind of relic. I don't know how to call that. But actually, I don't think relic is a suitable word for calling a series of movies, or a series of television dramas. Anyway, this is such kind of thing. And English title of that series of movies is Bayside Shakedown. Bayside Shakedown. This is the first time I came to know the English version, or English translation of this series of movies. I know this series as a series of movies, but actually this had been a series of television dramas. And anyway, so which is why, so people in their late 30s, or people in their early 40s, people in their early 40s, or people in their late 30s, no no this series of movies. So in other words, people in their early 30s may not know, for example. So people at the age of, for example, 30 years old, or 31 years old may not know this series of movies, or this series of TV dramas. Anyway, so this is really a famous movie. So, and I haven't told you. So I have noticed that I have not told you the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is, cases are not going on in the conference rooms. They are going on in the scenes. And the conclusion is, translation is difficult. That's it. Translation is difficult. So anyways, I'm sorry, this is really difficult to explain. So, first of all, please take a look at the description column of this episode, and so that you can find out a Japanese writing. And what Japanese writing says is, I'm going to pronounce the writing in Japanese language. And the original sentences are 事件は会議室で起こってるんじゃない。現場で起きてるんだ。I'm going to tell you again. So, 事件は会議室で起こってるんじゃない。現場で起きてるんだ。Which is really, this phrase is really famous because because the main protagonist of this movie says this one in the scene of climax or in the scene just before the climax of our movie belonging to that series of famous movies anyway. Anyway, so I should have told you. So this is what the main character or Mr. Aoshima, which is the name of the protagonist, said in a movie of that famous series of movies. And translating this one into English is really difficult. So if he says this is generally true, for example, if this person thinks that if this person finds this what he says true in every situation or in general, for example, so the translation is going to become cases are not going on in the conference rooms, or cases are not going on in the conference rooms, they are going on in the scenes. I think this is a translation, or this is a correct translation, I think. And but actually, so in this case, so I translated jiken into cases, which means so I translated jiken is a anyway case, jiken is case. So for example, murder case is 殺人事件 in English language. 殺人 is murder. 殺人者 is 殺人犯 is murderer, and murder is 殺人 which is why 殺人事件 is murder case. So cases. So in my mother tongue, jiken is used in such a situation. So accidental case, not so jiken is not a general word, or jiken has a negative nuance. Jiken has a negative nuance, so jiken has a negative nuance or negative aspect as the meaning of that word anyway. But actually, so translating that into English language, case is fine. So anyway, so but actually, so if this person finds this person finds this chicken as a particular one, what if Mr. Aoshima says if Mr. Aoshima thinks that he is pointing out a particular, or if he is thinking of a unique case different from other general cases, so the translation is going to become the case is not going on in the conference room, they are going on in the scene, or in the case of conference rooms, plural forms are fine. So if Mr. Aoshima thinks if Mr. Aoshima is thinking of that case as a particular one, not the same as other general cases. So in such a case, so the translation is going to become the case is not going on in the conference room. So conference room, as I have told you, singular form is fine. So it is going on in the scene, or it is going on in the scenes, which is fine. If that case is really a huge one, so so maybe I have told you I have accidentally said they are going on, but actually it is going on because that is Mr. Aoshima in this hypothetical situation. Mr. Aoshima is thinking of just one case, so it is going. So the later sentence has to be translated into it is going on in the scene or in the scenes. And language, so translation is difficult, and particularly, so especially, so when it comes to translating Asian language into English language, for example, so English language has article systems, which means so English has a and the. So, but actually, so we don't, or it maybe. So I do not know all the Asian languages, but actually, so maybe at least I know I have at least I know Korean language and Chinese language, and I know Chinese language better than Korean language anyway. But actually, both of those languages do not have articles. So if you so in such a case, if you'd like to talk about a particular case, so in such a case, so for example, we say この事件 or その事件 or あの事件 or I think we would use proper noun. I think proper noun is more frequently used in the conversations of Japanese language. So which is why we do not. Well, the native speakers of, for example, Japanese people, in the case of Japanese people, for example, so, we do not, I'm a Japanese person, so which is why, so, in such a case, we do not get confused, but confused with, which word is used in the conversation. So, sometimes misunderstanding occurs, but actually, so, we can, it's possible, so Japanese, the native speakers of those Asian languages can prevent such a confusion and misunderstandings by using so in this case translating those Asian words into English language. So this case, its case, that case, and the case, and well, those Asian languages have those words corresponding with this, the, it, and the, and we use proper nouns more frequently than the native speakers of Western European languages anyway. So Russian language doesn't have articles, but actually, so anyway, maybe they have some linguistic systems preventing people from misunderstanding what they are talking about. Maybe each language has its own distinct linguistic system for preventing misunderstanding. Anyway, but actually, which is why, so that is one of the reasons why translation is difficult. So of course, so translation is difficult, but so for example, translation can be easy between French language and English language. I don't know French language, but actually, so when it comes to translation, so from Russian language to English language and vice versa can be more or easier than translation between my mother tongue and English language, and in case from Chinese language to English language. So we find Chinese language really close to English language, but actually, so we means Japanese people and maybe Korean people think so, because our language means so. Japanese people and Korean people are really close in the aspects of cultures and languages and so historical backgrounds anyway. So to start with, both of those two countries have American bases. So in such a way, so we are really close, and we do we well so we are likely to behave with others, and we hate isolations. I love isolation, and Japanese people fairly love isolations. But actually, so in the case of Korean people, this is what I have. This is what I heard. But actually, so I have some Korean friends. But actually, so I have not lived in South Korea. So which is why so and this is what I heard about from many people. But actually, so if you eat, for example, if you eat alone, for example, in cafe or in some restaurant, so that person is that person is going to be found having no friend. So I'm sorry for my clumsy manner of explanation, but actually, so so people this is what I heard, but actually, South Korean people have meals alone, which is what I heard because they may be found that they have no friends anyway. So such a thing is what I heard. So like which so our country so each foreign cultures have each foreign culture has its distinct system and it's really unique social system and unique society. So which is why so including linguistic systems. So which is why translation is generally speaking translation is really difficult. Which is what I'd like you to know this time. So at last, I'm thinking of speaking out in English language the original sentence in English language. So I don't know. This is really a hard trial for me. Or this is really a challenging trial. So I'm going to speak out the title in the intonation or in the as in the way what I'm going to do is that in the way that that main protagonist Mr. Aoshima pronounced in the scene of that movie, I'm going to speak as the title or the translation of that original Japanese sentences, and that so I'm going to speak out. Cases are not going on into conference rooms. They are going on into scenes. Yeah. So in this situation, maybe a heroine there was a heroine or there was a heroine in that movie and she got shot in that movie. So which is why so the situation was real. Maybe she was shot or I thought whether Mr. Aoshima got shot or that heroine got shot in that movie. But actually, somebody was shot in the climax of that movie. So and anyway that is really that is so it is why so that scene was really tense situation. So it is why Mr. Aoshima said Mr. Aoshima said cases are not going on into conference rooms, they are going on into scenes, which is what he said anyway. So and the conclusion is translation is difficult. So I have told you the title. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you. And so please take a look at the description column of this episode. So I'm thinking of writing some links or online links or online web pages of related to this episode. So for example, the songs used in the beginning of this episode. So please take a look at the description column of this episode so that you can find out which songs were used in the when I was recording this episode. So by the way, the recording time is the middle of November in 2022.